Welcome to another exciting and rewarding week. Last week we looked at the renewable energy resources. We realized that these are the type of resources where, as we use them, we are not going to run out of them because the supply is endless. For example, wind, solar, and some of the biofuels. We have the capacity to generate these resources over and over again, although we still need some of the non-renewable resources to help us in developing these non-renewable resources, so that they have to be a good balance between the two. This week we're going to be looking at the global needs and consumption of earth resources. It is important to note that the amount of resources that each nation consumes is directly related to the amount of development that country has witnessed. Generally, the demand for natural resources has grown together with the increase in the growth of the population of the world. So we're going to realize that at the turn of the 19th century, when we had the beginning of the Industrial Revolution, which led to the invention of the steam engine, the consumption of steel just skyrocketed, and some other base metals that we need, cobalt, copper, the consumption of these resources have grown over time as well. A lot of different elements that are used that form the basis of our civilization. I've already mentioned cobalt. We have phosphates, tungsten, zirconium, nickel, fluorspar, copper, uranium, bismuth. The name can go on and on. But what we're going to realize is that the consumption of all these natural resources is directly linked to the level of development of the different countries that we have in the world. When you go to the developed countries, they definitely use more of these natural resources because to construct roads, build skyscrapers, and the different infrastructure that is needed to support the economic development of the country is heavily dependent upon natural resources. When you fly over the African continent in the night, for example, you find very little light. But when you fly over Western Europe and the North American continent in the night, the contrast is very clear by the amount of lights that you see. So there are two factors that are driving the global consumption of natural resources. We've talked about the population and the level of economic growth. When you go to countries that are having a lot of poverty, it's because their economies have not developed the capacity to consume natural resources. What we mean here is the ability to exploit these natural resources, process them and transform them in a way that is going to enhance their standard of living. In 2014, the World Bank made available $1 billion to help the African continent to figure out the amount of natural resources that they are having. Because what is also happening is that most of these less developed countries don't even know what they are having. So the first step of trying to consume natural resources is to figure out what you're having before you move ahead to develop them. So this week we're going to be looking at this consumption of natural resources globally. As usual, you're going to be expected to participate on the discussion board. Make sure that your contributions are thoughtful, they're constructive, and if you have any questions, endeavor to send them away. You have my email, you have my phone number, you can text, you can call me. Let's make it another exciting week. Thank you.